Have you ever thought you knew everything about a classic film until a secret reveals itself? Don't Look Now, 1973, is one of those movies that still whispers hidden truths decades later. In today's video, we're diving deep behind the canals of Venice into editing tricks, casting oddities, and the controversies that nearly buried this film. Stay tuned because I guarantee there's at least one fact here you've never heard about Don't Look Now, 1973. Fact 1. Julie Christie attended a seance to prepare. In preparation for her role in Don't Look Now, 1973, Julie Christie was taken by director Nicholas Roeg to attend a real seance. To help her internalize the film's occult elements and the idea of mediumship, Roeg arranged for Christie to sit in a darkened parlor with a genuine psychic, the medium Leslie Flint, during which guests were instructed to uncross your legs, a detail that ultimately made it into the final film's seance scene. Roeg believed that experiencing an authentic seance would give Christie a more instinctual sense of how to react to supernatural suggestion, rather than relying purely on imaginative acting. In doing so, Christie's performance carries a subtle weight of tension. She seems half in the spiritual realm even when she isn't on stage. Fact 2. The Baxters' home was actually cast members' house. The house used as the Baxters' home in the film, where Christine's drowning incident is set, wasn't a random filming location. It was the real house of actor David Tree. Tree appears in Don't Look Now, 1973, as Anthony Babbage, the headmaster at John and Laura Baxter's son's boarding school. Because the film's budget was limited, Roeg and his crew used Tree's property as both his character's house and the Baxters' home. Interestingly, the set choice helped unify visual continuity and lent authenticity to the domestic space, especially since the same rooms would later be reflected in memory or flashback from a different emotional vantage point. The house's half-wood, half-brick architecture was also chosen to reflect the Baxters' emotional indecision. Fact 3. Christine's death was invented for the film. In Daphne du Maurier's original short story, on which Don't Look Now, 1973, is based, Christine does not die by drowning. Instead, she succumbs to meningitis. Roeg and his co-writers decided to transform that cause of death into a drowning to heighten visual symbolism and thematic resonance. Water, reflections, and submerged imagery become motifs throughout the film, and the drowning gives a visceral visual anchor. Because Venice, canals, water, and reflections are central to the film's aesthetic and supernatural layering, that change amplifies everything from motif to mood. This small but powerful deviation is one of the reasons Don't Look Now, 1973, feels so cinematic. The film doesn't just adapt du Maurier, it transforms her story into a visual meditation on loss, perception, and death. Fact 4. The infamous sex scene was shot first, when the leads had just met. One of the most famous and controversial scenes in Don't Look Now, 1973, the sex scene between Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie, was actually the first scene the two actors shot together. On the very first day they met, after torrential rain had delayed outdoor filming, Roeg asked them to shoot the intimate scene. The psychological pressure was immense. Christie, unaccustomed to that level of exposure, worked with a reduced crew and limited lighting to reduce discomfort. The scene is edited in a fragmented way, intercut with post-coital dressing, to both heighten emotional tension and help navigate censorship concerns. It's no wonder rumors persisted for decades that the sex had been real. The rawness, trust, and visual boldness continue to spark debate even today. Fact 5. 9 frames were cut to avoid an X rating. The explicitness of the sex scene generated considerable trouble with film censors, particularly in the US. To avoid receiving an X rating, Nicholas Roeg agreed to remove 9 frames from the US version, trimming just enough for the censors to permit an R classification. Meanwhile, in the UK the scene remained intact and uncut, earning the film an X rating in its original territory. In Ireland, the censors took further action. They removed the sex sequence entirely. The negotiation over just a few frames underscores how thin the line was between bold art and banned content in early 1970s cinema, and how Don't Look Now, 1973, tested that boundary deliberately. Fact 6. The red coat that became a symbol. The small red coat worn by the mysterious figure in Don't Look Now, 1973, UK/Italy, has become one of the most haunting visual motifs in cinema history. Director Nicholas Roeg deliberately chose the color red to symbolize danger, loss, and the lingering trauma of the couple's drowned daughter. Throughout the film, red appears subtly in the background, in stained glass, clothing, and lighting, reinforcing the idea that grief follows the protagonists everywhere. Interestingly, the production team used multiple versions of the coat, each with different textures and materials, to achieve the eerie shimmer under Venice's dim lights. Critics have often compared the red coat to a visual ghost, echoing the psychological horror within the story. This single costume choice has since inspired countless tributes and homages in later thrillers, including works by filmmakers like Guillermo del Toro and Ari Aster. Fact 7. The Real Venice, A City of Ghosts. Unlike many productions that rely on studio sets, Don't Look Now, 1973, UK/Italy was filmed almost entirely on location in Venice. Nicholas Roeg refused to use artificial lighting or sets, preferring to capture the authentic, decaying beauty of the real city. This choice gave the film its haunting atmosphere: narrow alleys, misty canals, and damp stone walls that seem alive with secrets. The crew worked under unpredictable conditions, dealing with constant fog, tides, and echoes that made every shot feel unsettling. Locals even reported strange coincidences during filming, like hearing unexplained footsteps or seeing red reflections at night. Many film historians believe Venice itself acts as a character in the story, a labyrinth of sorrow reflecting the couple's emotional disorientation. Fact 8. The editing that plays with time. The editing style of Don't Look Now, 1973, UK/Italy, is revolutionary. Nicholas Roeg used cross-cutting to blend past, present, and future, blurring reality and memory in ways rarely seen before. The film's famous opening sequence intercuts the drowning of the child with her parents' reactions, visually linking tragedy and intuition. Roeg once said he wanted the audience to feel the characters' psychic visions, not just witness them. This approach influenced generations of filmmakers, from Christopher Nolan to Lars von Trier. Each cut is emotionally charged, creating a puzzle-like structure that reflects grief's confusion. Even the ending, shocking and inevitable, was foreshadowed through these fragmented glimpses, making rewatching the film a completely new experience every time. Fact 9. The Psychic Sisters were inspired by real mediums. The two elderly psychic sisters in Don't Look Now, 1973, UK/Italy, were not just fictional creations. Nicholas Roeg based them partly on real-life mediums he had met in London during the 1960s. Actress Hilary Mason, who played Heather, studied spiritualism extensively before filming, even attending seances to observe how genuine psychics behaved. The eerie authenticity of their performances made many viewers wonder if they were truly channeling something supernatural. During shooting, cast members reported strange occurrences, whispers on set, objects moving slightly, and a persistent coldness in scenes featuring the sisters. Whether coincidence or something beyond, their presence deepened the film's unsettling blend of the real and the paranormal. Fact 10. The ambiguous ending that shocked audiences. The ending of Don't Look Now, 1973, UK/Italy, remains one of cinema's most shocking twists. After following mysterious visions of a small figure in a red coat, Donald Sutherland's character confronts what he believes is his daughter's spirit, only to discover a murderous dwarf. Nicholas Roeg intentionally left many questions unanswered. Was it fate, madness, or supernatural intervention? The ambiguity is the point. Grief distorts perception, and the line between life and death becomes blurred. When the film premiered, many audiences were stunned into silence, while critics call the ending both horrifying and poetic. It transformed the movie from a psychological drama into an unforgettable tragedy that still fuels debate today. Fact 11. Donald Sutherland's unsettling commitment. Donald Sutherland's performance in Don't Look Now, 1973, UK/Italy, is often praised for its raw emotional depth, but few know how deeply he immersed himself into the role. Sutherland reportedly avoided socializing during the shoot, choosing instead to wander Venice's foggy streets alone, trying to feel the same isolation and grief his character endured. He also refused to use a double for the drowning scene flashbacks, wanting to personally experience the terror of the water. His dedication left him emotionally drained, and he later confessed that filming certain scenes, especially those involving visions of his daughter, left him shaken for days. This intense commitment helped produce one of the most haunting performances of his career, blurring the line between acting and lived emotion. Fact 12. Julie Christie's reaction was genuine. Julie Christie, who played Laura Baxter, gave one of her most emotionally devastating performances in Don't Look Now, 1973, UK/Italy. During filming, Nicholas Roeg often withheld key details from her to capture authentic reactions. In one notable scene, when Laura is told of her husband's supposed death, Roeg didn't allow Christie to rehearse. The camera rolled on her first, instinctive response. The trembling shock and silent horror were completely real. Christie later admitted that the psychological weight of the story stayed with her long after filming ended, saying it felt like grieving for someone who never existed. This spontaneous realism became a hallmark of the movie's unsettling authenticity. Fact 13. The sound design creates hidden tension. Beyond its visuals, Don't Look Now, 1973, UK/Italy uses sound in deeply psychological ways. Composer Pino Donaggio crafted a score blending melancholic piano with eerie silence, allowing quiet moments to amplify dread. Roeg also incorporated natural sounds, dripping water, echoing footsteps, distant bells, to make Venice feel alive, almost whispering secrets. In several sequences, the sound subtly foreshadows danger, faint splashes hint at tragedy, and echoes mirror the characters' fractured minds. Sound engineers layered tracks to disorient the audience, creating an almost subconscious unease. This innovative soundscape transformed the film into an immersive sensory experience that filmmakers still study today. Fact 14. Critics didn't understand it at first. When Don't Look Now, 1973, UK/Italy was first released, many critics were confused. Some dismissed it as overly ambiguous or emotionally manipulative, unsure how to interpret its surreal editing and symbolism. But over time, the film's reputation transformed. Scholars began to recognize its psychological depth, and it is now hailed as a masterpiece of visual storytelling. In 2022, Sight and Sound ranked it among the greatest films ever made. Its initial misunderstanding highlights how Don't Look Now was ahead of its time, a meditation on grief and perception that only revealed its genius through reflection and rewatching. Fact 15. A legacy that shaped modern horror. Don't Look Now, 1973, UK/Italy is now considered a foundational influence on psychological horror. Directors like Ari Aster, Hereditary, Robert Eggers, The Lighthouse, and Guillermo del Toro have cited it as inspiration for its emotional terror and symbolic imagery. Its blend of grief, suspense, and surrealism reshaped how filmmakers approach fear, focusing less on monsters and more on the horrors of the human mind. Many later films borrow its use of color symbolism, ambiguous endings, and tragic inevitability. Half a century later, its haunting echoes continue to ripple through modern cinema, reminding us that the scariest ghosts are often our memories. In the decade since its release, Don't Look Now, 1973, UK/Italy has transformed from a misunderstood psychological thriller into one of the most haunting masterpieces in cinema history. Its chilling atmosphere, emotional performances, and layered symbolism continue to inspire filmmakers and fascinate audiences around the world. Every red reflection, every eerie whisper, and every fragment of memory draws us deeper into its tragic spell, blurring the lines between grief, love, and fate. But what do you think? Was the ending a vision, a warning, or a cruel twist of destiny? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your interpretation. If you enjoyed uncovering these hidden secrets behind Don't Look Now, 1973, UK/Italy, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories from the world of cinema.